Do I look camera ready?
You do.
Cool.
Yeah. The headphones over the hat is a fun one.
I had a beanie and I figured it wouldn't play well with the hat.
I could see that.
Or
I
with
did
the
the
headphones.
baseball cap last week with the headphones. I felt very like protected. So
Yeah, I
love
feel
that for
safe.
you. Yeah.
Am I good on proximity? I'm gonna put it right by me.
Well,
Is this
yeah.
close? Is this good?
We want to hear all of your mouth sounds. Hi, this is One Swatch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and today I'm joined by Josh Gilligan.
Howdy.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I am also good as well, and you're joining us from Nashville. Well, via LA.
From Nashville while in LA.
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, yes. Do you come to LA a lot?
I was here last in December. I would say like 3 times a year.
I feel like that's about as much as you need to be in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any given person.
It's good. It's a good dose. For sure.
How long have you been in Nashville?
11 years.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That's a decent amount of time.
It's a chunk.
And you like it?
I do, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I live there, and for that reason, I like it.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Florida.
Okay, so that's close enough to home.
Yeah, 3 states away, 9-hour drive.
See, that's just,
Not
that's
too bad.
crazy. I always forget how large Florida is.
It's a big one.
It's a big old place.
That's why nobody tours there.
It's true.
Because you have to go into it and then come back up.
Where is like the music hub of Florida, other than I guess Miami? But
well, brother Mickey here, Orlando, House of Blues Orlando gets a lot of really good, and it's on Disney property. Oh. So I grew up seeing all my favorite bands there.
Okay.
Yeah, which was a lot of really inconsistent genre stuff.
Right.
I would just look at the House of Blues schedule and I'm like, yep, going to see that band, and then buy all their stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not really like a musical hub state. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that states do get like written off for the lack of music vibe that they may have. But I mean, someone in Florida wants to do music, and it was you, and it will be some other kid.
It was only me.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to tell everyone to include Florida in their future tours.
They should. They really. I mean, it's a great market. A lot of people really want more bands to come to Florida. So
I bet it feels very isolating to just be like skipped over and have to drive to. I guess like Nashville really is the next closest hub.
Yeah, Nashville and Atlanta.
Yeah,
get a lot.
Okay,
a lot of good stuff.
Wow, the more you know about the South.
Yeah.
Got to check out that Southeast.
Yeah, get in there.
United States. I will. Well, thanks for coming on our little tastemaking podcast while
thanks
you're
for
here.
having me.
Yeah, we're gonna go through a 3-course meal of your music, and to get started, I'd love to know if listeners had never heard your music before. What's the first song you would serve up to them? The first bite.
Well, you asked me this for the behind the scenes look
about 90 seconds
ago, and I'm still thinking about it. If you've never heard anything of my music,
you could give us a little tapas situation, like a couple of bites.
So the record that we'll talk about in a little bit is like the first time I recorded by myself, and before that I put out a song that I recorded by myself called Last Time. And that's what made me realize I wanted to do it, at least for one project, do it alone. Yeah, I would say that's probably the song. Last Time would be the appetizer right now, currently, if you were going to listen to the new stuff. So, I don't know, does it play in the podcast or something?
It will play right now. Thank you for the cue.
Act like I...
That's the worst way to get what I want, and the best way to make sure I never to the sun.
And we're
I'm like, well, I could explain it, or
yeah. Well, that was my next question. I would love to know. I mean, 2 things. I want to know why you wrote the song in general, but then also why you decided to be the one to produce it, or if that was just like a bit of a serendipitous choice.
Yeah, that's actually a cool question for this one. I wrote it sort of just like, actually, I think in Nashville there's a lot of pressure for like, let's get together and write, or like, let's do this, and then people kind of write a song really fast about something that's probably true to them, but like, wake up in the morning and like, I'm writing today. Like sometimes it's not the most like marinated thing by the time it's done. Sometimes it is. But I was just going through a phase of like tripping over my own feet kind of constantly and like hurting some friends' feelings, hurting my own. And last time was just like it's kind of cheeky. Like it just keeps kind of repeating itself. Like I said, it was last time, it's last time, you know, keeps going, kind of like what it feels like to be stuck in one of those cycles. So that song was kind of the only song I wrote over like 4 months.
Wow.
Because I just was in this like place of exhaustion maybe, and that was all I had. So I was looking for a way to spark some new ideas, and I ordered it's called a Tascam 388, and it's what like a bunch of bands have made their demos on, and then they end up like keeping them, and that's just how the record sounds. It's like a tape machine on one side and a mixer on the other.
Oh, cool.
And so you don't have to plug it into a computer or anything. You can just chill, and what a crazy thought. But
truly though, these days.
Yeah. So I did the demo on that, and you have 8 channels to make the song.
Okay.
And when it came time to like re-record it to put it out, I didn't want to do that. It just felt like the right one. Like that version of it from the tape machine. So, and then I was like, oh, that's a completed song. That sounds good enough to come out. Maybe I can do that again.
Sick.
So that old machine helped me discover that.
So you didn't add anything through the computer to the version that is out?
I added.
Okay.
Maybe I like redid one guitar part, but you can output like separate stuff from it. So it's not like one stereo track. You can like send the individual parts.
Each track, can then be altered.
So I mixed it in Pro Tools, but I recorded it on the tape machine.
That's still like bare minimum of like computer automation and stuff. So. And
it's not to a click, so you get what you get, and you just put it in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that is a very good place to start. I think it's indicative of like the journey that you're now on of producing stuff, and also coming from that feeling of exhaustion. And I don't know, I think you're right. I talk a lot about like the state of like session work and stuff on this podcast, just because it's really interesting to me right now how some people are in that lane of like they can write just like get up and like, I don't know, like force something out, and it works really well for them. And those people I admire and respect. But I also think there's something to say for like, you kind of need to experience to have inspiration.
Totally.
And those 4 months, like, I don't think they were wasted by not writing. I think if you needed to like live out that rut and that exhaustion.
Totally. Live out the rut.
That's the rut.
That's a good one.
Okay, title.
Live out the rut. Upcoming EP that I have yet to write.
Right.
No, that's very true. Like, it just needs to kind of be lived in. And I think especially for like making things that you want to like later, don't beat yourself up when they're coming out slow. It's like a balance between having a work ethic and like, I don't think there's an eternal allowance for just being like, well, I got writer's block and, you know, someday it'll come back.
Right.
Like, you still got to show up a little bit, but the self-loathing in the meantime of not being creative is just a phase that's like, it'll pass.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to write bad songs or have days where it just doesn't come out.
Yeah.
And I also just put it together before this podcast. I knew you were opening for Medium Build on tour, but you're also a part of his band. Yeah. And I'm curious, like, what your life looks like. You're like probably touring a lot and going into like your solo project. How much time do you really have? Like, how do you separate all of the different musical things that you're doing and like dedicate time towards writing for Josh Gilligan?
To be honest, it was like pretty hard last year. Like, it was awesome because the label that I was working with, Easy Does It, like, we were like talking and getting the project going, and then I posted an Instagram story in January of last year of just me covering a song.
Awesome.
And Nick, Medium Build, replied to it and was like, or he didn't reply to it with text. Like, I'd met him one time and at a show, so we were like talking at the show quietly next to each other, trying not to interrupt our friend's set, and then he's like, we should write, and then he was gone to Alaska for like months. So I was like, this guy's my friend, but we don't like super know each other. And then he just slides up on my Instagram with like 3 voice messages, and each one is like a minute and 19 seconds long or something. And I'm like, okay, I gotta like get away from people to listen to these.
Sure.
And he was just like, explained what he wanted for the band and how he wanted to add a member, but not like a concrete position. So he was like, if you're down to like try different things and just figure it out. And the first show is at the Forum, or like the Forum,
Small
and then there's
show.
like, yeah. So I was like, oh, damn. And he was like hinting at me playing drums, which like I barely play drums. So I'm like, that would be nuts if the first time I ever played drums was at the Forum,
Right.
Which it wasn't. I didn't play drums. I ended up playing guitar, but
still,
yeah, it was pretty bizarre because I just like had the open. I didn't realize I had an open year, and then when he like sent me those DMs, I was like, well, let me actually look at my schedule. And it kind of like serendipitously just worked with like all the touring blocks he had. So that said, amazing opportunity, kind of instant family vibe when we all started playing together. But then like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got a record that I need to finish.
Yeah.
And it took the better part of the year just in those like little off days to finish it up. And he's super supportive of it, given the fact like, you know, he wanted me to open some shows, and
totally.
I don't think he sees it as like, this is the only thing you're allowed to do. Like he's not oppressive about it.
No, sure.
But yeah, it's hard to balance because you put so much creative energy into like bringing your best thing for someone else's project, and then wanting to also allocate that for mine. And then just the like raw honesty of like, his music is doing really well. Like mine is a cool passion project, but I'm not going to say no to like, it's an interesting time we're in where like you can be an artist and have sort of these like micro fan bases that are really meaningful.
Yeah.
And you're hoping for more, but I'm also content with like where I am, and just like a boss that lets me, boss is a funny word to call
it.
him.
Awesome.
But like somebody that lets me like do my shit and feel confident about it and show up to his. And I don't know. It's ongoing. Like luckily he doesn't have as many shows this year. So it's kind of like a question it's like when you know your siblings going to college soon.
Right.
Like, I'm like, let's just not talk about it and let's go see movies. And then August comes and they got to leave, which I don't want to leave, but future's uncertain, I guess, you know, like he could get really busy. He could want a different band. I could decide to quit music. I could, or I don't know. There's just like so many permutations of it that it's like, it was really exciting to just enjoy that really packed year when he put out Country and like see those shows and see his fans and make like new siblings.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool.
I'm always very interested in hearing. I feel like the general public doesn't get to see the behind the scenes of like the life of a touring artist, where it is kind of the dream. Like most people do just want to go on tour and play shows and meet people. Yeah. But it is so much work to do that and write an album, record an album, promote said album, promote said shows. It's just like everything at once.
Yeah.
So I am interested lately in like how people are grounding themselves and just being people.
Yeah. Are you asking me how I ground myself?
I am. I would love to know.
I guess I would love to know too.
Sure.
Yeah. I have things that help. Like I'm currently trying to not drink. That's not like some triumphant sobriety statement. I don't know what I want from it forever, but like right now I'm like, maybe I should back off that a little bit and see if that helps. Or maybe I should, you know, exercise more. Like you kind of with touring, I think as a band we hit sort of a dead end where like nobody really knew how to ground themselves by the end of the year, and you're just like living off of this 45-minute adrenaline rush that kind of recontextualizes why you're gone so much.
Yeah.
And then everybody loves it, and then it's like 2 days of sitting in the van and we're like, man, I miss my dog or I miss my friends or something.
Yeah.
But watching movies, I love the NBA. I love fishing.
That's awesome.
Like Nashville has a lot of good like outdoor spaces. So just getting outside a little bit, getting out of my cave and seeing the sun. People, I really have fought the urge to be alone all the time this last year. Yeah. And every time when someone's like, just come out tonight, I never regret it. Like just going out and like, especially during an anxious week, like adding people to your equation will always surprise you and bring more joy. Yeah. Even when I think I have the code cracked and I'm like, no, I just need to be home.
Of course. Yeah. I watched a video this morning that said being annoyed is the price we pay for community. So like if you're annoyed that you have to go to this event, or you're annoyed, like you don't want to be around people, but you already invited them over. That's just like what you have to do. Like it's either that or be lonely.
Totally.
So yeah.
And ideally you go and you're not annoyed, and then it's a great time.
I just know that moment in the car where I'm like, I could just turn around and go home. But then you always are glad you did it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that helps for sure.
Yeah, it's such an insular little life we lead now with TikTok and Instagram, but
the talk.
Alas, the talk. I'd love to get into the album.
Yeah.
So you produced this entire album yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Last Time was sort of the catalyst for you deciding to do that. Why is that? It felt right?
Yeah. Feeling like, I think I listen to music all the time that I'm like, objectively, this sounds way better than my record.
Okay.
Like just like flashier production or like high fidelity sounds, things like that, which aren't necessarily like the only metrics of success. But it felt like it needed to come from me. I felt like I was in a hole and I needed to get myself out of it. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was an ego driven thing of like, I'll clean up my own mess. But it felt good to like find my productivity again and be able to like learn skills that I had always wanted to know a little bit more about, like miking up a whole drum kit and getting it to sound solid. Mm-hmm. Things like that I just wanted to explore. And I love the people that I got to make it with. Like we kind of made it with the same band. And
awesome.
I don't know. It's not an overly ambitious production effort, but just being like the person making the decisions and knowing that if I had to make a record on my own, I could again, was like what I wanted to take away.
Yeah. The pride of saying you did the whole thing is, that's awesome.
Even if you like see the glue stick coming out from the edge of the, like I made it. And I think my mom or whoever listens to it is like, oh, this is their work.
Right.
Like, it's like that kind of thing. Like, I think the people that take pride in it, whoever that is, like if it's like 10 people or if it's 10,000 or something, I'm just like, that was that window of time and it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay. So I would love a song that represents that little time capsule then. What's the meat of Party of One?
I think I'll go with your suggestion kind of, which was the song called Anything.
Cool.
Its hands are on the steering wheel, but mine are on your heart. Living hurts a little, but the living is the art. And it takes a lot to be anything. Yeah, it takes a lot to be.
Why do you think we should go with Anything? I know why I think, but
I think it's like, it sounds like the band that the record was made with.
Yeah.
And then subject matter wise, it's like very consistent with all the things we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. Like the effort to like get yourself back in the flow and create something. And the chorus kind of like ruminates on that idea of like, sometimes it's just hard to get back in it or to try. And that's not just music, like anything that you do, anything. But yeah, it's very simple, but I think it can be applied to a lot of different things. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was listening, I had the album like cycle through a couple of times, mm-hmm. and it was clear every time it got back to Anything, I was like, yeah, this is the opener. Cool. Like it just always got me back into it. And then I was excited for the way it was going to unfold past Anything. Yeah. It just felt like a good, I keep saying catalyst, but that's just like the word I can find right now.
It's a good one.
Good buzzword these days. Yeah. And it does have a bit of like an MJ Lenderman pop sensibility to it. There we go. Okay.
I like his music a lot.
Me too. And it's kind of parallel to what you're doing, like guitarist of a band. And, yeah. Doing his own thing and rocking it on Jimmy Fallon and stuff.
Yeah. He's great.
He's a good one.
I love that Fallon performance too.
Oh my God. So good. Yeah. So good. I feel like I kind of know the answer based off of what you've been telling me, but why did you decide to name the album Party of One?
Well, there's a song on it called Party of One.
Yeah.
Yeah, solitude, like isolation. And then literally what we were just talking about, like with deciding to go out and see people. Yeah. And that ending up being kind of a better thing sometimes. Like the chorus in that song says Party of One just isn't really that fun. Like I think the like asterisk would be like do it in moderation.
Sure.
Like I think the period of solitude has a clock on it, and that was like making the record about that concept is like me just kind of like closing that chapter and being like, that was cool. I had my sort of monastic like private life for a while, and now want to reintegrate, but
not the Severance.
It's not prescriptive. Yeah, Severance. Oh, that's we should just talk about Severance the whole time. Honestly,
literally, please.
That Severance is how I ground myself. Severance and White Lotus right now.
I had to turn off the White Lotus episode last night. I couldn't get more than 15 minutes through it.
Really?
It's really stressing me out. The dad who got into the money laundering stuff, really not doing well for my brain.
Yeah, he's not doing well right now. We'll find out in a few days what's happening.
We will. But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's like, okay, I need to break out of my solitude and reintegrate. So let me make this record completely by myself.
Reintegrate sounds like so clinical, but
it does.
that was my word choice, and I will stand by it.
Yeah, stand by. It is. It really is almost. It is kind of. It's like a medical procedure to get yourself to enjoy being around people again when you've gotten so good at I get home and I put on White Lotus and that's my night. Yeah. I think it's interesting to look at that album from that perspective now too, to kind of see it just from a single perspective, looking at all the friends and things that you want to get back into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. On that note, I don't know if this was going to be your dessert track, so sorry if I steal it from you, but Free was one of my favorites.
Oh, cool.
On the record.
Yeah.
Just completely instrumental. I would love to know why you decided to put an instrumental track on there. I feel like that's a rare move.
Yeah. So we actually did track a few more that didn't make it on the record.
Okay.
They could have. I liked the 8 we picked and ending it with or anything and then a song called Everything ends it. And I wanted a change of pace kind of tune, and Matt, who's in the room, sorry guys at home, there's other people here.
Fourth wall.
But he also had the idea that it was a cool line of demarcation between side A and B to have an instrumental and change the mood. But Chris, who played in the band, played guitar. He's in an instrumental band called Disappearing Teeth Trick, if I can plug them. They're so good. They're amazing. But I hit him up and was like, do you just want to come up with some instrumental progressions, and we can we were still in the thick of recording, and I was like, maybe we can write lyrics to it later in the day, or I just want a different track. So at the end of the day, we had 30 minutes before those guys had to jet, and he was like, I'll just teach you guys the song, cool. These instrumental chords. So I started recording, and the overhead mic on the drums was off. There's a few things that we had already torn down, but I was like, I'll just get this as a voice memo. And the door to the guitar room was open. Everything was technically not what you should do.
Yeah.
But in the track, you can hear him calling out chords, and that was the only time we ever played it. So
wow.
And then I just decided to call it Free because it was that free flowing moment or whatever. But we just started playing that, and there's imperfections in it, and we didn't really know the meter at one point, but I love it. It feels like a cool symbol of the stumbling around that was figuring out how to make music and make this record. And I love that song. He's a really talented guy, and I think the chords he chose, and if you listen really closely, you can learn them at home because he yells them in that room mic. But he puts so much emotion into chords when sometimes I'm a really simple chord guy.
Sure, 145.
145, baby. 3 chords in the truth.
That's right.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that song. I felt like it almost lifted that curtain and was here's cool. The room where we did this and now here's the rest of the record for you.
That's cool.
Do you know the Lumineers? Obviously, you know the Lumineers.
Yeah.
You heard of this band?
Yeah.
They have Patience ends the extended edition of the Cleopatra album. And it's just an instrumental piano track. And I've probably listened to it 300 times in my life. And
that's cool.
Immediately I sent Free to my girlfriend and I was like, put this on a playlist next to Patience. This is our new instrumental.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think there's something very meditative and also vulnerable about a track that doesn't have any lyrics or story to it. Thought it was cool.
I think it's ending up on your girlfriend's playlist, things that because I'll look, you can see playlists it gets added to.
Yeah.
And I always love imagining what it means to people in their day-to-day life. And I think even with these 3, what are the songs you would pick? it's important to not have like such a heavy attachment to like it has to be these ones or the singles or something. Like the fact that you're running with that song is so cool. Like I like it's like get it out and let it become what it wants to become to other people.
Yeah, it's going to be something completely different to everyone, and that's both scary and like the best part of it. Yeah, I would hope. Yeah,
totally.
Well, what's your dessert track then? Your cherry on top to Party of One.
Dessert. Well, it's tough because I don't know what my relationship to dessert is, and like I'm not a big sweets guy.
That's crazy.
I like ending on a savory after. Like if I get a good steak, why do I want to put tiramisu down the neck after that? You know,
that was like personally offensive.
Tiramisu. Yeah. Well, I'm so sorry, dessert heads. Love y'all a lot.
Crazy.
I can do it. Like I can tolerate dessert. I'm not saying it's bad.
Okay, then what's your like mashed potatoes?
What's your mashed potatoes? We got to rename this show Mashed Potato Show.
That's right.
I would say it's got to be something savory.
Right.
There's two.
Okay.
And it would be like a tightrope and 500 questions because it has like a long instrumental thing at the end and guitar solo. But probably tightrope feels like if that wasn't on the menu for the record, I think people would miss a bit of the feeling of the record. And that was like the first song I made for the record.
What feelings are we missing that we get with that one?
Mainly from like an instrumentation standpoint and just like the footprint of the vibe or the thumbprint, if you will, was like started with that. Foot or thumb. I'd love to show up to my future job and scan my foot on the way in.
Right. Foot or thumb, either works.
My future job. I'm really like severance coded right now. Like I got a lot of severance in the dome. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just like both of those songs. I think they would need to be on the menu. But
love it.
Tightrope is that's a special song to me.
Okay.
So I would want that for dessert if I were going to not have dessert like I do. I would want that for my meal.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I love that it's your personal favorite and you're not trying to say like, okay, top streaming or anything. That's the menu is about you. So good.
The menu is about me.
Right. I'm really the one-liners today are good. I have a couple of closing questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay. If Party of One were a candle, what would it smell like?
You're not going to believe the story I got for you right now.
Oh, boy.
So I'm a big synchronicity cat.
Okay.
Like I love looking for little things that I'm like, that's wild. But I know, wow, interesting.
A synchronicity cat. I'm just always
No, I worked at a candle factory during the time when I was writing the tune that I told you about last time and all that.
Yeah.
And it's a candle in Nashville, or a company that does like custom candles for people, but they also have their own line, but they own the machines to make stuff.
Okay.
So at that time I was packaging probably like 500 a day of the NoahCon stick season candle. And I'm not saying this song smells like that, but I know what that thing smells like. And we were so like apocalyptic factory mode about it. Like they would, like the boss would come in and be like, we got 700 Noahs that need to go out today. We got leather and pine, sagebrush. Josh, we'll put you on the Noahs. And I'm like, oh, please do.
Of course.
And then, I was like machine man with like the box prep and like laying them in and packing slips. So I'm very acquainted with the custom candle for song world.
Okay.
And I would love to know what this song smells like. I think it would smell like I don't have a full kitchen. And I use a lot of chili flakes. So sometimes when you come in my house, it smells like me trying to cover up chili flakes. I just have this toaster oven that really it really leaves a mark for a few days if you make something. Sure. So you come into my house and it's like, you kind of cook in the main, everything's in this like one big room.
Yeah.
It would smell like the scent of covering up cooking with limited resources.
I love that.
Don't you want that in your home?
Right.
Oh, and then the other crazy thing I was going to say was at the end of the NoahCon candle packing era, I got a call that new tenants were going to be moving into the front house on my property.
Okay.
It's not my property, but where I live. And it was NoahCon's guitar player and partner.
Stop. What? That's
and
so
I was like, do they
odd.
have a candle?
Right. Would you like a candle?
I'm sure he has the candle.
And you can say you were the one who packed it.
I packed that thing, man.
That's crazy.
Yep. Does that answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll bring it back to Severance one more time because I think this is a really, it's a parallel story. Dan Erickson, who wrote Severance, while he wrote it, I don't know if you know this, he was working at a door factory.
And that's why the door factory's in the show?
That's why why Dylan goes to, interview
Spoiler
at the door
alert.
factory. Sorry, everybody. When he wrote the show, he was like obsessed with the like weird, like stale feeling of that factory.
That's cool.
And like knowing everything about like hinges. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Similar
I relate.
story,
Yeah. For sure.
With the candle. My second question is what your favorite sound is right now, but like a life sound, not like a music producer sound.
Life sound. Well, sometimes when I'm like thinking, if I can't fall asleep, I'll like think of my childhood home, and I think of the way that every door shutting sounded, and like they're all different. But I could like, if you just like played me a recording of them, I could be like, that's the laundry room door, but the one that goes out to the deck.
Wow.
Like, I like how buildings we build have like different character in the way that the materials. Like this morning, I woke up and like the way that the door slammed for like the hotel room across the hall, I could just tell I was like elevated, and like the way the building rumbles and stuff like that. Sure. Like I like unique character and structures, and the way, like, you know, the way our habitats sound.
Yeah.
So there's this one door in my house that goes into the like recording area, which we recorded everything in the house that I live in. But like when you open it, it does this like air pocket sound.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a reintegration sound, if you will. But when you open it, it like does this like thing, and then it, like the way the jam like way like slides on the ground. It's got a lot of layers. It's a good sound.
That's such like a nice exercise in nostalgia and like remembering things.
You probably know all the doors in your life. You probably know what they sound like.
Well, sometimes when I like can't sleep, I'll like try to remember how it felt to like walk through the house like with my eyes closed. That's so sad.
I know. We're going back.
Really. Well, my very final question for you is who your ones to watch are. So who are you listening to?
Ones to watch.
That we should be.
Do they have to be like in need of watching, or is it?
I prefer an up and coming, someone that I might not have listened to.
Up and coming.
You mentioned
Disappearing Teeth Trick. Yeah, and they're gonna have a lot of new music this year.
Cool.
Rosie Rush, who opened those medium build shows.
Awesome.
Really cool. Has a full record on the way. I'm trying to think Nashville, like one more Nashville band that's really, really cool. Man, I'll have to send you some after.
Yeah, that's fine.
I always freeze. One time somebody was like, what have you been listening to? And I said, Usher.
Well, yes.
like Usher. It was like the most recent. And I was like, that is the most recent artist? Usher, yeah. Like, is that like your influence? I'm like, maybe.
Personally,
I used to put on and like just play basketball in my driveway and talk to myself like I was nailing threes at the buzzer.
That's a really
so my
good
ones
image.
to watch is Usher featuring Ludacris. Yeah.
Well, yes. All right. Bit of a personality take.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, those are my questions, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it was. I hope you got the meal out of it. The chef's choice.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing out my really beautifully made artwork.
I love it.
Originals by me.
No, this was fun.
Thank you. Well, once again, this is Ones to Watch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and this is Josh Gilligan. Listen to Party One.
Peace.